Hi, and welcome back to another episode on belaying. We're going to look at some additional techniques and subtleties that you can add to your belaying toolkit. We'll examine some brake hand management techniques, such as which direction to hold your palm, hand switches, lock-offs. We'll look at the universally beloved hip belay. Finally, we'll look at how to overcome some of the communication challenges that may present themselves between the climber and the belayer. If you're not into rope climbing and you prefer deep water soloing over shark-infested waters, then maybe this isn't the episode for you. For many years, I belayed exclusively palm up because that's how we were taught. Palm up, you'll notice, is very hard to do P-bus. Palm down, it's much easier to do P-bus because you're not twisting in a weird way when you're doing palm up. So palm down's good. I was always afraid palm down you could drop the rope, but if you keep a finger touching the thumb at all times and you have a tunnel, you won't drop the rope. If you're belaying a leader on a Gri-Gri, palms down is really the best way to go. And I find that this is quick, and you can do P-bus, you can do other things, and it's pretty effective. Discrete hand switch. There may be times when you have to change hands, particularly if, say, you're tying off your climber and you're hitching them off. You might want to do a discrete hand switch when you change brake hand from one to the other. This is fine as long as you're always in a position to brake should your partner fall. But this is not a discrete hand switch. I can't brake when I'm holding both ropes. A discrete hand switch is on the brake rope only. Anytime you're holding both ropes with the same hand, it's unbreakable and your partner can slip through. So discrete hand switch is on the brake strand only. Say Dan's having trouble on this awesome project of his and he's going to hang dog for a while. I tend to, for a quick lock, I just wrap it around and I hold them like so. If you really want to tie them off, you can punch it through and then wrap it around the spine. And then you can even tie a knot if he's going to be there for a long time. But generally, if he's projecting, I don't have to do that. He's not hanging too long. I'll just lock it, wrap it behind my belay loops, then grab, and then I've got him pretty much cinched. And I can hang out all day. He's not going anywhere. To undo it, make sure you got a brake hand on that strand before you unwind it. And he's climbing again. So he's ready to lower. Lock it off, walk it off. Take that slack out of the rope, then begin to lower. For the hip belay, take your climber strand, your brake strand, just flip it over your shoulders, like so. And if he falls, you just wrap your brake hand around your belly, like so. Belay's on. Climb it. Come on. The hip belay is one of the simplest techniques. It's probably the simplest to set up and the simplest to execute. It's truly a minimalist technique because you don't need extra equipment. You don't need a harness. You don't need a belay device.
You got me on a hip belay?
No, dude. I totally got you.
No,
it's okay.
man, not cool.
No, I mean,
I'm coming down.
you're perfectly safe on a hip belay, man.
Not today.
So, the hip belay may not be your go-to method, especially for catching your partner's whippers on his heinous proj. but I regularly use the hip belay in a specific circumstance on multi-pitch routes, generally at the top where the terrain eases off to 4th or 3rd class. If I'm at the final belay station at the end of the Class 5 climbing, but a fall scrambling on the easy terrain above it would have grave consequences, I'll have my second climb past me, at that point on lead, and stay on belay up through the easy terrain to the top. Then I have my partner put me on a quick hip belay to keep me safe as I take down the anchor and scramble up to join him at the top. A hip belay is quick and convenient, far more efficient than fumbling with a belay device like a Gri-Gri. Sometimes speed is safety in the mountains, especially if you're racing against foul weather. A hip belay is great for short, scrambly sections in the mountains when you and your partner are working your way through variable terrain and you're going on belay for very brief stretches and coming off just as quickly. At crowded crags or gyms, it's often best to say your partner's name with the commands. You hear the climber at the next route over call for tension and you yank on the rope, only to pull your partner off the wall. Not groovy. It doesn't always work, however. Once outdoors, my friend and I climbed adjacent pitches, and he reached the top about 15 feet before I did. His belayer and my belayer had similarly sounding names, particularly problematic outdoors with rock features obscuring the sound clarity. He called his partner's name and off belay, whereupon my partner called up, "Belay off, Cliff." So, if your name is Chris and you climb with me, we might want to use last names when calling out our commands. I mentioned the difficulty mountainous terrain can pose for interclimber communication. If you find yourself in a potential situation where you may not hear each other over the course of a pitch, rope tug commands are the way to go. Establish ahead of time that when the leader reaches the top of the pitch and attaches to the anchor, he'll give multiple, long, hard tugs on the rope. A minimum of 4 or 5 tugs. 2 or 3 could simply be the climber trying to pull against rope drag or moving quickly in short spurts. But 4 or 5 long, hard pulls will be an unambiguous signal to your belayer that you are calling off belay. The leader should wait a reasonable amount of time to let the belayer disconnect the belay device before pulling up the slack in the rope. Give it a minute, then pull up the slack. Once the slack is out, a predetermined signal, perhaps 4 or 5 long, hard pulls from above, tells the second he or she is on belay and can climb when ready. The second, now safely on belay, can disassemble the anchor and get ready to climb. The belayer above will have to tug periodically on the rope to pull in the slack. If the pull yields no slack, it means the climber below is still busy cleaning the anchor. Don't sweat it. Just keep tugging every few seconds until you actually start pulling up slack. That will let you know the climber is now climbing up to you. That wraps it up for now. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you've had fun belaying with me. Take care.